Israeli forces struck a major blow against Hezbollah this weekend, killing the group's top military commander in a daring airstrike in Beirut. The strike marks a rare hit inside Lebanon's capital and targets the man responsible for rebuilding Hezbollah's war machine. Our very own Washington insider, Armstrong Williams, is in Israel. He joins us now. You're at the Tower of David, the old city of Jerusalem. Obviously, so significant when you think of us entering one of the holiest periods of the year right now. But we're going to talk about those strikes. The military commander who was killed, taken out, instrumental in restoring Hezbollah's military readiness after last year's conflict with Israel. What is your sense, Armstrong? Is there fear among Israelis that they will retaliate for this strike?
This is consistent with Netanyahu over the last several years, taking out people in Iran that were threats, no different than Trump taking out Suleiman. This is what happens. These people are threats. They're threatening the perimeter of Israel, and they get intelligence within Beirut. They know exactly where this person is located, and this person is taken out. This will continue. This is business as usual for Israel. It's business as usual for this region. And, you know, I must tell you, things are just so normal. It would shock you here, by the way.
You know, you talk about, you know, this is the same White House, essentially, that helped broker the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas, has now drafted what was a 28-point peace plan. I think it's now something like 19-point or something like that, to end the war in Ukraine. There are reports that President Zelenskyy is ready for honest talks here about a Ukraine possible delegation working with the U.S. on drafting a refined version. That's what they're calling refined of this plan. What do you think? Are we close to crossing the finish line right now, or could we see peace between Russia and Ukraine anytime soon?
Yes, and Angela, this is an old negotiating tactic. Reduce them to almost inhumanity, things that make no sense. Then all of a sudden get the Ukrainians and the negotiators involved. You already know certain things that the Russians are willing to give up, like they can expand their military, they can keep certain borders, and there are other things that they can do. And all of a sudden it appears as a victory for them in the press. This is a negotiating tactic that's going on right now. But no matter what happens in the long run, Angela, Zelenskyy will lose. He will lose more than Putin. That's just reality.
You know, there's another reality that many people are demanding action about. That's what's happening in Nigeria. You know, recently the president has been pressuring very critical of the Nigerian government, saying they have not done enough to end the persecution of Christians there. Prime example, and this is really horrific, over the weekend up to 300 school children and a dozen teachers were kidnapped by extremists. 50 of those students managed to escape and are back with their families. Is the president right when it comes to his criticism of the Nigerian government, when you hear those numbers and you see what's going on there?
So, Angela, you have to keep in mind the Nigerian government are in secret talks with this administration. You should not be surprised if our intelligence operatives are already on the ground. They know exactly where the threat is. They're working with the United States. They want this issue resolved because, you know, we talk about so-called genocide here where I am, but the real genocide is what's going on with these kids. And you better believe that this situation will get itself under control, and we'll wake up one morning and it would just be unbelievable what the results will be and the extent that the United States is involved, and not necessarily with boots on the ground, but with strong forces on the ground that can resolve this issue sort of in the wee hours of the night, working with the Nigerian government. This is horrific, right? And this should not happen to any Christians around the world. And this is a win-win-win for the president.
Now, before we leave you, we want to talk about your stay in the Holy Land. Once again, you're at the Tower of David. You've been there for so many days now, talking to families who lost loved ones during the Hamas attack on October 7th. Kind of wrap up your trip, what you've learned, what you've seen, your takeaways.
You know, they go through so much chaos every day, run into bomb shelters, sometimes every 45 minutes. It is hard on them. You would think that their personalities is that of rudeness and hardness. But if you get beyond the exterior, they're some of the nicest people in the world. The other thing is, I think every stray cat in the world is in Israel. They've got hundreds of thousands of stray cats running around Israel. It's not like anything I've ever seen before. And also, we never talk about the love stories, how hostages who were held against their will in captivity have come out and strengthened their marriages. Some of them are remarried again and had wedding ceremonies, and it is rekindled love for couples that have been married 30 years. It's a remarkable story. We always tell about the tragedy, but there was also some triumph in all this, and we don't talk about the triumph because when something dies, something always gets a chance to live and grow even more.
You're absolutely right about that. And your reports here have been remarkable for us as well. We do appreciate your reports, Armstrong, from Israel. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, and happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you as well.